You mentioned to me, and this is so interesting with AI, and our member investors are isolated away from algorithmic velocity. Publicly traded assets are subject to the instant, mathematically driven wild swings of high-frequency algorithms. Because your assets are private real estate, they trade on human terms. They're physical.
I know.
They're on localized timelines, and they're completely protected from, this is actually key, flash crashes, bank runs, capital controls,
there it is,
foreclosure risk, asset seizure risk, and automated momentum runs.
Well, son, that is a complete validation of your vision. When the algorithms are working to the upside, what happens when the algorithms take over to the downside? And they effectively can't stop themselves, right? You could have a stock that maybe is trading at $200 today that could effectively, they could drive that in an algorithmic panic. They could drive that stock down to almost nothing. For the last 10 years or so, it's been one big money printing fest. Anybody that looks at the market, they know it's a rigged game. Most people feel like it's the only game in town. Maybe that's why they're in it, have to be in it somewhat, right? And we're protected. It just validates the vision that we have because we are out of that system.
Yo, hello, Dad.
General Greene?
Papa John.
Reporting.
How you doing?
Good, I'm reporting for duty.
All right, awesome. Is Alex there?
Alex is right here. He's filming right now.
All right, the donut. Okay, well, sounds good. So, Dad, I wanted you to expound upon your interview a couple days ago. You were talking about the Island Project as the #1 alternative investment in the world. That's something that I don't think people understand or know enough about. We're not just a real estate investment. Can you explain how we're an alternative?
Absolutely. Are you still with me?
I'm still with you. Yeah,
okay.
I'm just out here on a hike right now. We've got a weight
okay.
on, so
okay, yeah.
You can hear me.
No, good for you. Well, yeah, what makes us different? We're, like Alex and I've discussed many times too, and you have your traditional investments like stocks and bonds, and you invest in the market, stock market, bond market, you might invest in precious metals. There's all kinds of traditional investments to invest in. Most people know what those are. So we're an alternative investment. First off, nobody is doing what we're doing. We have our own specific business model. We have our own specific concept and our brand that we're building. So when somebody invests with us, honestly, we think they're really mitigating risk across the board because we're a private offering and we raise capital and we turn it around and we buy some of the best marquee real estate in the world in some of the premier resort areas in the world. A lot of it is in Hawaii. What makes us different is #1, we buy all the properties with the cash that we raise from the capital raise. And then we run a specific business plan around the whole private offering, the capital raise, the portfolio that we've created, and we build the brand along the way.
Yeah, so let's delve into that further so the audience understands. I mean, we are a no debt play, and it's our belief, along with our investors, there's going to be some kind of large debt collapse, debt crisis. Some people call it the Great Reset ahead. And that eliminates counterparty risk. It eliminates foreclosure risk. It eliminates the problem of margin calls. What we saw in 2008 and 09, what I believe is actually going to be much worse in 2026. I've been very hard hitting just with my own message because, well, people need to know, right? I'm warning people that if they don't get out of the banks now, there's going to be a very, very severe problem. But drill into that because we have no bank debt. And what that does is eliminate that counterparty risk you'd normally get at a bank.
Yeah. And I mean, look, that was your vision from the start. And basically it was how do we raise capital? How do we bring in like-minded investors that want to diversify into something that's real? And so that was a big part of that was what are we going to do with the capital that we raise? And your vision from the start is that we're going to invest in a beautiful portfolio of marquee real estate that we pay all cash for. So it's pretty simple with us, son. When we raise, as you know, when we raise the capital, what happens to it? Well, we gradually build out and acquire this real estate portfolio, and it's pretty simple. With the 6 properties that we have in the Island Project now, the founders round, and more to be acquired. I mean, I explain it to our investor community like this. I mean, we raise the capital. That capital goes into a specific bank account for the LLC. When it comes time to buy something, guess what? And it's almost always the same. Usually there's a $100,000 earnest money deposit, maybe $150K. There'll be a second deposit about the same amount, and then the other balance of that cash will come out of that LLC to complete the acquisition. So pretty
very straightforward.
Yeah.
And very simple for people to understand, and eliminates all that risk. Again, as we saw with the banking collapse in 2008-09, all those foreclosures and short sales and people being underwater, that's impossible with the Island Project. We actually are stronger in a debt collapse, stronger during geopolitical uncertainty, and we'll continue to buy great, luxurious, multi-million-dollar properties if the price is right as we build out our portfolio. I also wanted you to discuss a little bit too, because you mentioned to me, and this is so interesting with AI, it's such a powerful tool. You were just keystroking, what is the Island Project? And the AI was responding, and one of its key tenets said that you're basically isolated, and our member investors are isolated away from algorithmic velocity. And it sounds like a fancy term, but basically what it's saying, and you can explain this as well, is that you look at the stock market. What is the stock market today? I mean, you basically have high frequency trading machines on Wall Street,
yeah,
in my view and opinion, front running the American public.
Absolutely.
Right? So
yeah.
You've got all this tech, which is being used against us, and what we believe is rigged the game. I think a lot of people agree with us. And as I've shared with my audience, why would you participate in playing a rigged system?
Yeah.
Why would you even show up at the table at the casino and play blackjack if you knew that the house had a hidden deck of cards underneath the table and was basically screwing you at every turn?
Yeah.
You obviously won it. And so I think one of the big advantages from my view, why we built the project, of course, our vision, my vision for its long-term growth is, look, we're not going to play the rigged game. We're going to play the sure thing. We are going to win, guaranteed. And we are going to eliminate all of these outsized risks and outside risks ahead. But what's your opinion? What do you think it was saying about isolation from algorithmic velocity?
Yeah.
I'm just reading here. It says, publicly traded assets are subject to the instant, mathematically driven wild swings of high frequency algorithms. Because your assets are private real estate, they trade on human terms. They're physical.
I know.
They're on localized timelines, and they're completely protected from, this is actually key, flash crashes, bank runs, capital controls,
there it is,
foreclosure risk, asset seizure risk, and automated momentum runs.
Well, son, that is a complete validation of your vision right there, right? And I think that was so cool about AI and their kind of response to what is the Island Project, whatever I kind of had fed them, but they kind of hit the nail on the head. When the algorithms are working to the upside, and by the way, none of it looks right? But you can definitely see it. When they're working to the upside, they just grind higher, and they've got a method and a madness for doing that. You can see it. Anybody that's watching the market or really watching specific stocks in the market. But the question is, what happens, because it will happen, what happens when the algorithms take over to the downside and they effectively can't stop themselves, right? You could have a stock that maybe is trading at $200 today that could effectively, they could drive that in an algorithmic panic. They could drive that stock down to almost nothing, right? And and along the way, what does that do? Well, it creates a panic across the board. People are going to sell their stock. There's going to be a lot of forced margin calling and all those kind of things. But I think for the last 10 years or so, it's been one big money printing fest. Anybody that looks at the market, they know it's a rigged game. Most people feel like it's the only game in town. Maybe that's why they're in it. They have to be in it somewhat, right? But we're protected. We're protected, and it just validates the vision that we have, because we are out of that system.
Sure, and people I think understand, overall the stock market's obviously manipulated. I actually think it's one of the reasons people invest in it. They don't think it can ever go down, which, by the way, they thought the same thing in 1929, and they thought the same thing right prior to Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers. I mean, honestly, very few people agree with us, Papa John,
I know
that there is even going to be a stock market crash, which I view as a complete red, full alarm fire drill. And speaking to the manipulation, you can see this on Wall Street today clearly. Just even with oil prices should be so much higher. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed for, I think, going on 5 months. And the U.S. government's been, of course, exercising its strategic oil reserves. But my point is, at a time of full-blown war in the Middle East, literally Trump is bombing Iran as we speak. No peace, more bombs in Ukraine, Russia bombing Kyiv earlier over the past week itself. I mean, again, the markets are being manipulated. It always seems to tilt towards the house. So we kind of, speak to the choir there, but we've done a really good job, and thank God and all glory to God, of eliminating that risk and really reinventing a whole new way to own the best luxury trophy assets in the world for as little as $200K, which is amazing to think about. No bank debt, all that exclusive access, not a timeshare, true 100% equity ownership. You become a partner in the island project, plus all the accretive income up to 30 days calm to use every single year. And then, of course, our amazing concierge team, all the little goodies you get thrown in, our Diamond Net tiers with Lamborghinis, for crying out loud, lifted Jeeps, limo service, transportation, and properties already acquired and operating across every freaking island pretty much here in Hawaii, including Park City. But before I get too carried away, because you know how much I love the investment, we created it for a reason. And it is number one in the world. But let's talk about the final point AI made about the island project, which I thought was really interesting because it called us an intrinsic value underpinned by brand equity. You tuning in own the best real estate in the world with us. You do it with no bank debt outside the system. You keep the capital gains. You live an extraordinary 1000x life, because we know what they're trying to do, which is remove home ownership from the American people, which is exactly what they've done. And what we have done is combated that truly with the antithesis that is what I believe is totalitarianism and socialism moving into the United States. And we're not going to have it, of course. We're going to build something prosperous. We're building a legacy, and we are helping people, of course, as much as we can as we build out into the future.
Well, you said it all, and I think it's going to be hard to beat how AI described the project. I thought they did a magnificent job. But I think one of the key things is for all of our current investors, future investors that are going to onboard, is that we run this beautiful business plan around the project. Everybody has ownership. We have this beautiful portfolio. But like this year, we've got 120 investors that are visiting one or more of the properties that essentially they own in the Island Project portfolio, that they own a piece of. They get to live their investment. They get to create some great memories. And I think maybe more important than anything else that we always need to emphasize is, like AI had mentioned, is we are building a great brand. We're going to take this brand worldwide, and we are really, this is just kind of the warm up to how great we make it. But you and I have talked, and we've talked with some of our other larger investors too. I mean, if we do what we're doing, we do it right, the brand value will probably outweigh the value of the real estate portfolio. I think our brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Don't you think so?
And they're, 100%. I mean, 1000x. We're a multi-billion-dollar marketing platform that reaches millions and millions of eyeballs. Not to mention, we have a proven model that works. That, all glory to God, again, was invented by us, and we had to go through all the travails of the last 4 years to figure that out. And now with, over 430 investors, there are now 4 million people ready to buy islandproject.com. So the IP is absolutely off the hook. extraordinary, and it provides a unique footprint and makes it truly the greatest alternative investment, in my opinion, in the world. And I want to speak to that too, because, this is not open to everybody. Not everybody is going to get in. And when you call us, you're going to have to see if you qualify, if it's a good fit. I want the audience to understand that we only have 100 more investors coming in. That's it. And then in our public launch roadmap, I'm tokenizing the greatest properties in the world, hundreds of millions of dollars worth, already in active participation and operating portfolio in existence. And then we're going live. Then there's millions of people buying the islandproject.com, its brand, its properties, and that's going to fund, of course, island projects worldwide as we interconnect our IL chain network. But speak to that. How does the average person roll over their IRA and retirement account today so they can get involved? And what do they do next to see if the island project investment is right for them?
Well, I'll talk about the last part of it first, but I think the first thing to do, and keep in mind that it's a $200,000 minimum investment in the island project, and we addressing the founders round, like Chris had mentioned, we have 430 investors from all over the world that invested in that LLC. We expect to have 100 for the second LLC for Art Covenant Properties, Deck 2 of the Island Project. But I think number one, call me. Call 808-442-2934. We want to make sure that you understand everything about the investment before you make the investment. We're going to talk about all the great things that we do, but we're going to back that up with a lot more about the portfolio properties. You'll get a look at them all. You're going to have links to all the properties in the portfolio. You're going to get a firsthand look at the business plan and how we operate and where we're going to go. And then you'll be able to fund the investment either through Dealmaker, which is our secure investor portal, or you can just call me and we can help you along. But 808-442-2934, that's my number. That's the one that you need to call. And if it's IRA money or if it's 401k money that you want to convert to an IRA so that you can make an investment in the island project, then we can handle that, no problem. We have several third-party custodians. Our main one is Preferred Trust, but Equity Trust, Advanta, NDTCO, there's several others. There's no problem in funding an IRA investment, but again, you have to reach out to me first at my number.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just personally, one of the great things, and many of our investors have brought this to my attention and said this as well, is that the great thing about investing in the island project is you don't have to time the market. People need to keep in mind, we've been actively acquiring real estate for the last 4 years. So they're already participating in active gains of our brand equity, our growing portfolio. It's not like they're buying just one condo, okay, at let's say, the top of the market. And let's say real estate goes down 20%. That would actually be a good thing. We've already been operating for 4 years. So we have booked gains with the original Island Project Round 1 fund. And in addition, as we build out Deck 2, you're buying in really into a dollar cost average portfolio with all of this other built-in equity. So it provides a layer of protection, in my view and opinion, and a de-risked investment alternative, which you've described, Dad, which really allows people to, again, participate in the best investment in the world, true 100% ownership, keeping all those capital gains. And then just the thing that I think is the coolest about it, it's participatory and you can use it. And there's an entertainment factor, and every investor that onboards and funds immediately books their amazing, memorable vacation at one of our extraordinary homes. And they can use that, enjoy that, touch that, and just kind of sing that to the world. And I encourage all of y'all too that have recently onboarded, like the wonderful DeSantis family, which are original investors. IP Fund 1 just came in and met the minimum of 200K into Deck 2. Leave us your testimonials. Share it with the world. Let them know it's real. Let them know you're actually standing, using, enjoying, your investment. Call your
Yeah.
financial
Yeah.
advisors. Tell them this is the greatest investment I've ever seen. Call your friends that own timeshares.
Well,
Where they don't
yep.
get anything in return. They get nothing. They can't even get out of them. I mean, those are scams. Call them up and say, rush your money into the island project. How dare someone sell you on a freaking timeshare when you could actually own this piece of real estate and get in? I mean, scream it to the mountaintops. People need to understand that what we've done and what we've built, the deep state doesn't want you to own. BlackRock doesn't want you to get a piece of the rock. Okay, they don't want you to own this prized real estate. They don't want you to touch a $10 million house. They want to price you out of it. They want to keep it to themselves. They want to securitize it on Wall Street. They want to take on tons of debt, rig the system, just like they did in 2008 and 09. And it's important that the people know, Dad, you've said this and you were the first to say it. God bless you, man. We're the good guys. We are the patriots. We are the warriors. We are the Christians. We're building kingdom wealth. We love what we do. And the Island Project is the #1 investment in the world. Papa John, you close us out. I love you, man.
Well, I love you too, son. I would say, I mean, cheers to all those points that you mentioned. You're right. You're right on. You know what I think? Of course, we talk about everything all the time, and along with our team, our great team that we have working alongside us. But the biggest validation of what we've done is actually the investors that come out and they visit the Island Project for the very first time, and they stay at one of our properties on Maui or Oahu or the Big Island or Deer Valley Park City. You and I talk about how and of course we know how it happened, but how did the capital get raised? Well, we had our investors come out and they took their first stay at one of the Island Project properties, and maybe they made a $50K investment in the founders round. But after their first stay, many of our investors turned out to be our largest investors today because total validation, they made a $50K investment, they might be at $1 million now. It could have been a $30K investment, they're at $250K now. It's just the biggest validation of the project is when people have access and can use one of the properties. It just rubber stamps what we've done. And as we know, that out of those 430 investors in the founders round, a lot of those are new investors, but a lot of those investors, a good portion of the investors that made that investment into the founders round, and especially the ones that jumped on board right after we launched, they had made lots of money off the Christopher Greene platform, your consults and your advice. And a lot of those crypto gains were trimmed and rolled right into the Island Project.
Absolutely. Well, Papa John, I'm going to let you go. I know you got more calls to make, and we have a lot of exciting updates. I have a new newsletter that will be going out privately to our investors. Make sure you get in. Make sure you give my dad a call and start rolling over those IRAs. Find out if this investment is the 1000X investment for you. And also, I just want to leave it with a little bit of a teaser and fun. Thailand's coming. Okay, a working, amazing ranch in Wyoming coming. More properties coming. More estates. More mega mansions. More fun. And again, we're tokenizing. That roadmap this year in 2026 is 1776. So declare your independence today with us and do it now before it's too late. And make sure you're one of the lucky 100 investors that get in, because we're always swinging hard, Dad. We're always working our butts off, and we got the no quit attitude. And with God on our side, everything is possible as we move ahead with the digital Noah's Ark. What an honor.
All right. Well, cheers to that, son. And we're blessed, and God bless everybody that's listening and paying attention. God bless you all.
God bless.